Hey, expert investors. So for new investors that we're seeing coming in and looking to buy in 2021, the most common source of a down payment is equity in their personal home. Now, that's probably not a surprise to you, but a common question or process that I'm running through is how to take advantage of that equity. Okay, so this title of this video is "The Value of My Home Has Doubled or Even Tripled. What do I do now?" So let's run through a quick scenario. Okay, so let's say you bought your house in 2015 and you paid $500,000. Okay, reasonable amount of money, starter home. 5-6 years later, the price of your home is now $1 million. Wow, you've doubled your money. Fantastic. And what do you do now? Well, this is the process we go through. So let's say your home is now worth $1 million and you want to invest. Back in 2015, I'm going to pull up my calculator here so you can see it. You would have bought this house for $500,000 and you would have put 20% down. So your down payment was $100,000. Now, you might have had that in cash. You might have sold an older property to come up with the money. Maybe your parents gave you some other. Either way, your down payment was $100,000. So your mortgage in 2015 was $400,000, as we see on the calculator here. So in 2015, you bought a house $500,000. You put $100,000 down payment. $400,000 is your mortgage. Okay. Fast forward to 2021, your mortgage is $1 million. You've gone through an entire mortgage term. We've gone through 5-6 years now of mortgage pay down. So your property value is $1 million and your mortgage, well, assuming you didn't refinance during that time, has gone lower. You've paid down your mortgage over that time. Now, let's be conservative. Let's say you've paid it down $50,000 from $400,000 to $350,000. So today, your mortgage, your value, is $1 million. How many zeros is that? One more zero. Minus $350,000 mortgage. Oops. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Minus $350,000. There we go. So your equity is $650,000 in your home, right? Let's put that in there. Okay, you got $650,000 in equity. But how do you access that? Does that mean you can go to the bank and they're just going to write you a check for $650,000? Do you put a line of credit on your house, a home equity line of credit? Do you or do you refinance and raise the debt and take the cash? What do you do? Well, here's the most likely scenario. Most people on their personal home put a line of credit so that if you have a bunch of equity that you can use it when you want to. But just because there's $650,000 in equity doesn't mean you have access to all of it. What you have access to is 80% of the new value, right? So let's say, in fact, you do want to refinance, you want to put a line of credit on your house, and you want to buy a boat, buy a house, buy another investment property, whatever. So you want to access your equity in your property. The bank sends an appraiser. Let's say the appraiser agrees with you. Your house is worth $1 million. The bank will say, well, you can use up to 80% of that new appraisal, that's why I have 80% here, as equity, as a line of credit or as a refinance. So let's take 80% times 0.80, and we're getting $800,000, okay? So potentially your new mortgage or your new credit limit is $800,000 because your property value is $1 million. So what we do, we take the new mortgage amount, which would be $800,000, and the old mortgage amount, we subtract it, $350,000. Remember, you bought your house in 2015 for $500,000. You put $100,000 down payment, and you paid off about $50,000 in mortgage over the span of 5-6 years over here. So you have, you have $800,000. You have your old mortgage. You have $450,000 in line of credit. Oops. Credit space. Okay? That's how it works. I hope that makes sense. So this refinance, because your value is up to, I'm going slow on purpose, because your value has come up to $1 million, the bank sends an appraiser, the appraiser confirms the value at $1 million, and the bank will say, well, you can use up to 80% of that new value, which times 80% of 1 million gives you 800,000 maximum limit of credit. You already have a mortgage of 350,000. So the actual line of credit would be the difference between 800,000 and 350,000, giving you 400,000 of line of credit space, or usable equity. Okay, usable equity. Did I spell that right? No, I did not. And we'll say total equity here to make that less confusing. Okay, so now once you have this line of credit set up, now you'll literally have a $450,000 bank account to go in and use to purchase a property. So what happens if you take another $100,000 out? Okay, this is the next question we get. So you take $100,000 and you go buy another $500,000 single family home or a condo. You use the $100,000 as another 20% down payment. So what happens? Well, you have lots of room. You take $100,000 out of here, you have $350,000 left, but now you got to pay interest on this $100,000. Okay, so the $100,000 times your interest rate. So how do you calculate the interest rate? So typically for a line of credit, it's usually prime. So Canada's prime rate plus a half or 1%. Okay, so if Canada's prime rate, for example, is 2.5 and your line of credit payment is 2.5% plus 1, your interest rate is going to be 3.5%. Let's take a quick look. Canada's prime rate. 2.45%. So in your line of credit, in your contract, it's going to say when you use money from your line of credit, okay, the interest rate you're going to pay is Canada's prime rate, is 2.5 right here, plus half or plus 1. Usually it's between those amounts. So realistically, you could be paying anywhere between 2.95 to 3.5%. So let's use a worst case scenario, and we'll say 3.5%. Okay, interest rate annually. That means to borrow $100,000, it's going to cost you $3,500 a year, annual. Okay, that's the cost, which comes out to approximately $300 a month, right? Just a little shy. If it was $300 a month, it would end up at $3,600 annually, right? So this $100,000 costs you $3,500 annually, or $300 a month in interest payments. And of course, if you wanted to pay back your principal, you would pay on top of the interest, right? So now, why would you take out this $100,000 and pay interest? That sounds insane. Well, if we're going to take out this money, we want to make it worth our while. So we want to buy a property. So we're going to buy a property that cash flows $600 per month. So if the property cash flows $600 a month, that means you can now service you can service the LOC payment of $300 per month, plus you keep $300 a month in cash flow. Okay? So, very simplified example here. But this is the scenario I take people through on a one-on-one basis when I'm explaining to them how to use their line of credit to their advantage. Now, if you take this 100 grand or all your 450 line of credit and you go buy a boat, unless that boat is spitting off cash flow, you're going to be paying debt for a long time. And hey, if that's your prerogative, I'm not here to judge you. I'm only here to be your guide and to help you buy and profit from investment properties in Southern Ontario. So that's my shtick. That's what I do for myself. That's what I do for almost 200 other investors right now. I am their coach. I'm going to put some links in down here to my classes. This is the stuff we learn. This is the stuff we want to take advantage of. And this is how we get to financial freedom with real estate. That's the important one. Talk soon, everyone.